Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. My name is Adam Glenn. Over there is Dax Holt, two of the hosts of the Entertainment News podcast. Hollywood Raw, the number 18 Entertainment News podcast. No, I don't even know what number we are. We stopped checking. It doesn't matter.
I feel like, you know what? It was like when, what was it? Pod charts or whatever it was. They like shut down. And so we didn't have the visibility we used to have into where we were ranking on the charts. So, yeah, well.
Yeah, I think we just lost interest. Like, whatever. We have a really good audience, and that's all that matters. How was your weekend, Dax? You had a good weekend?
Yeah, weekend was good. We spent like literally the whole weekend. We were at the beach one day, all day Saturday, at the pool all day Sunday. I know you were probably sitting in the rain, so I'm sorry if this is annoying that I'm telling you how much I got to just sit out by the beach and enjoy the sunlight.
Dax, believe it or not, it is so hot in New York City right now on the East Coast. It's like 100 degrees, humid, hot. It's been raining a lot, but now it's been like way overload with sun and heat. I mean, it's hard to go on. You're outside. You're just burning every time you're outside. So, yeah, it's pretty intense here. I went to the beach this weekend. I also went to Fanatics Fest. Did you see this thing on social media, Dax?
No, what is that? No.
So it was basically sports con. Like they have Comic Cons. This was sports con pretty much. And it's actually very cool. They do a good job putting together. And the one thing I like about it is all the athletes sort of walk around, which is sort of cool. Like if you go to Comic Con, you don't really get to see the celebrities. They'll go on stage and then you have to like pay extra to go to see some of these stages where they have to do talks. This one was sort of all together, the way that, like the people walk around. You could go see Kevin Hart filming like a live show, like Cold as Balls with Tom Brady. You could go right up to the stage. I don't know. It was very well put together. It was very cool. I mean, I enjoyed it. I was there for like 2 hours. Got a bunch of free things. When I say free things, got a bunch of like stupid things, like dude wipes, like nothing good. But I mean that is good. But
literally shit for your ass.
The one thing that I did, though, was Saturday night I had a tip that Kevin Durant, and this is a little bit more sports related, and I try to stay away from sports, but like this is sort of like Hollywood-ish. Okay. Kevin Durant was throwing a party at Zero Bond, and so I got there. It was supposed to be at 10 p.m. I got there, and the only, like, you saw LeBron James showed up, which it was so screwed up. I'm telling you, the world of, like, paparazzi is in a really weird thing right now because there's very few paparazzi these days because it's a very hard industry to make money on. Reason is the outlets don't have money. And then you have these other people that just film the content on their phone and put on social media, and they don't even have to monetize because they're not, I don't know what they're doing. But then they put on their social media, and then they just get all the hits on social media that the outlets are like, we don't need to use it. We could just use that person's TikTok video and just use that instead. So it's like, it's just a complete mess right now when it comes to the world of paparazzi. But also, like, the fans come up with their phones, and they'll be like, hey, can I get an autograph? And if you don't, I'm going to harass you on camera. And that's what they sort of did to LeBron James. Like, LeBron, can you sign? LeBron, can you sign? And then they just, since he doesn't sign, they just start harassing him on the street, and they film him. So it's like, he can't look good because he's not signing for them. And then he gets berated on camera for not. And I'm not like the biggest LeBron James, like pro LeBron James guy, but it's just a very weird situation. So LeBron James enters this party. People start harassing him. Every football player is trying to get into this party. They don't know nobody knows who they are because without their helmets, nobody could recognize these guys. So outside, it's tons of people trying to get in the door of this party with tons of issues. Like players, athletes are being turned away from getting into this party. And then the girls going into the party, like, it's so, I don't want to say sad, but it's just like, and I get it because I'd be one of those people trying to get in the party myself if I had nothing to do or if I had enough money, but I was outside trying to make money. But it's like all these girls, they're all dressed in like mini skirts and very high heels. They're attractive girls, but they're like poor hot. Does that make sense?
Poor hot? What does that even mean?
They're like poor hot. Like they look good, but deep down, you know, they're just poor. And they're dressed to the nines, but they're just poor. I'm telling you, Dex, the best, if you saw a girl and you're like, oh, she's poor hot, you know, where there's other girls like, oh, no, she's hot, but these girls look poor. And I'm telling
Poor
you, man,
Hot.
it's it's just the most shallow, weird thing to be outside some of these, like, not just like when it's like sponsors events, but like these parties, because all these girls want to all have their minute with a basketball player,
Hmm.
maybe have a nice night with a basketball player athlete. And I saw LeBron James, I saw Kevin Durant. I did get a minute with Livy Dunn, who is the LSU gymnast, who was the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue this past year. Very
Hmm.
nice, very sweet. She's going to be a star. She knows how to give it up on camera. Like, she's like, oh, there's photographers, and she gives them like a good photo, like stops for them and talks to them. So she's yeah, she works it. And
Can I go back to something you were talking about? So you're saying that the world of paparazzi just isn't the same as it used to be. Now, do you think that social media killed a lot of the paparazzi stuff
correct.
because there's just so much access to celebs that people are almost oversaturated with celebrities that they're not as cool as they used to be?
Yeah, I
Like
do.
there's like a weird level of like allure when you don't know everything about them. But now with social media, it's like, you know, when they're taking a dump, you know, when they're traveling, you know, when they're like, it's not just beach photos from paparazzi is when you find out they're on vacation. It's they've posted the plane flight, they've posted packing, they've posted landing, they've posted getting to the hotel. And so it's like, it's just not exciting anymore. I feel like celebs aren't as exciting as they used to be because we know every intimate detail about their lives thanks to social media.
Yeah, I do. I just think it's um there's too much access to them in a way. They're
Yeah.
not as private as them. So when you see them, you're not like, oh my god, there they are. You're like, oh, they just keep popping up on my algorithm. I think also there's these TikTok. Everyone's trying to be a creator right now, a content creator, and they're all just trying to shoot photos, and they don't know what they're doing, but they're getting views, but they don't realize
Hmm.
that the views, in my opinion, don't really mean much. There's not.
So do you here's a question, because social media is so big, there's people that get jobs now because they have a huge social following. But do you think that there's something to be said about getting off social media for these big celebs so that they create that, like, I don't know, like that desire from people to want to see them perform or be on stage or be in movies? Or no, like Billie Eilish made it big being on social media, Benson Boone has made it big being on social media. So there can be that effect of social media has created that star, but also social media is not making that celebrity important anymore.
I think there's a little bit of both. I think it's a money grab. People are just trying to take the money where they can because there's no jobs in Hollywood for these people these days. It's so hard to get a project going because there's just
Hmm.
no money. And I think we're all trying to figure out. I think there's just a lot of problems in Hollywood right now. I think there's just so many issues with them where they just don't, the business has changed so much and so quick and so fast that people just don't know how to with chat. This goes in with like the AI and the economy there, and then also the political what's going on in politics these days. People don't know how to work with some of these people that either A, may politically stick to one side, or B, that there's been some sort of negative blowback to them because it's 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 hard to be artistic these days, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I don't know. I think there's just a lot of issues. I think there's a lot of issues with paparazzi as well. Um, but I don't think there's issues with paparazzi. I think the outlets made so much mistakes, the media outlets, that it affected the paparazzis and them getting their stuff out. It's just a whole big mess.
Okay.
That's my opinion. I don't
Interesting.
know.
No, I find the whole thing fascinating of how much it's changed in the last 20 years since, we started at TMZ, and how it was exciting. All of this stuff was really, really exciting for me when it kicked off, and like covering celeb news and getting the photos of when, Paris, Lindsay, and Brittany were hanging outside and going clubbing together. And I just don't feel that same excitement that I used to feel because it's everywhere all the time, versus exciting to see what happened last night and having no idea and finding out through the paparazzi photos what happened last night.
Yeah, it's I do think if TMZ at first was doing something new, something unique, something exciting, and if they stuck to their guns and stuck with their people, but stuck to what they were doing, things would have been really different in the industry. And I think TMZ was on the cusp of doing something really unique because they were.
Yeah, but social media came out when TMZ was growing. So it's like, there was no Twitter, there was no Instagram when TMZ started. All of that has changed. So it's like, how do you change that? How do you stop something like that from happening? Because that has brought so many beautiful things to the world in regards to celebrities and like famous people that we didn't know about, but social media brought them to us. And then the other side of it, which is just killed so much.
I think everyone's just trying to figure out how to make a dollar. Really, they're
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to make money, and they're scared. I think Hollywood's scared of the content creators. I think the content creators are scared of their content creators are mostly young, so they've realized how to make content for so cheap, and I think that's
Yeah.
what Hollywood screwed up on. They were just making content for so much money. They believed that they had to deal with all the unions and pay all these people for all these different jobs. And at what point you saw it coming, especially being at TMZ, like you guys didn't need, not you guys, I should say, people were starting to realize you don't need to make it doesn't need to cost so much money to make content. My
Hmm.
biggest fear, honestly, Dax, is like I want to see Brad Pitt and like guys like Tom Cruise and some of these actors not have to do movies. Like this is like a big thing. I don't want them to have to do movies that have to be in IMAX. Like they have to do these crazy over the top movies just to kind of stay in the business. I'd rather them
Yeah.
go back to like just making good movies. I feel like the F1 movie that's coming out, I'll go see it. It might be pretty good. I'm sure it's great in IMAX. I'm sure it's like Brad Pitt. It's going to be an experience. But I just hope that people don't feel like they have to make movies that have to go in IMAX and make these big, crazy, wild AI type movies just to kind of stay relevant. I wish they go
Yeah,
back to just making
I
like a
don't
film.
even like IMAX. I feel like IMAX always hurts my eyes when it gets like when they do
It's
3D
work.
movies or IMAX. I'm just like, oh, can we just have a normal movie? But I think you're right. They're trying to get people back into the theaters, and I just wonder, will we rebound so far where like no one goes to theaters, then it like people miss it, and so then everyone starts going back to theater. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I,
It's a weird time.
I also think the Me Too movement was a very, we say, unique thing. I mean, I'm glad it happened, obviously, because there's some people that really were doing some bad stuff that kind of got put on blast. I mean, crazy stuff. However, I think there was other people that kind of got thrown into it because it became there's so many people at one certain time that just kept getting quote unquote me too'd that became just an era, like a generation. Like, oh, the Me Too. Are we going to Me Too them now? Are we going to cancel them? Cancel culture became really big. I think
Hmm.
that took what was a very big blow to Hollywood. And I think there was some good parts of it, but also it became overdone. And it was like, all right, who are we going to cancel next, guys? And what we found out a little bit with cancel culture, some of it came within the industry, like
Yeah.
it became a sort of a marketing tool. So yeah, it's a very scary time to be in Hollywood.
It's not,
Especially
and
the
I was gonna say with AI coming up too. By the way, do you want me to read a review? I got a review real
please.
fast. If you wanted me to give that person a shout out. All right, so I got a review. This one comes from Ken Hizzle, and it says, "I'm cool" is a headline. It's got 5 stars. It says, I just found out this pod. I just found this pod a few months ago, and I recognize these dudes from when I used to watch TMZ back in the day before I had kids. Yeah, mom of 4 now, and my life is insane. The rundown at the end of the week gives me all the info I need to gossip and converse with the other moms at the baseball game on the weekends. Think I'm a pop culture G and I feel cool. Thanks, bros. I personally like the gentle opinions from 2 different dudes, an East Coast single guy and a West Coast hub dad. What's a hub dad? I love that. It's straight to the point, and I literally learn something new every week because I cannot keep up these days. I like the show, man. Fire. Love it. What a great review. I feel like I need to like save this one.
I mean,
That was a
I was
really
like,
good
really?
review.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. I appreciate it. I wasn't
Thanks, Ken
expecting that.
Hizzle.
Ken
Appreciate it.
Hizzle? Yeah, I wasn't
Ken
expecting
Hizzle.
that. Very nice. Very cool.
We
Um,
need that someday. You guys have no idea how much these reviews really mean to us, because I'm telling you, there are days where Adam and I look at each other and like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we like we spend so much time and effort, and um it's not like this thing like pays us a ton of money, let's be honest here. But we do it because of you guys. We do it because of the fans. We do it because of comments like this, or a private Facebook group, Off the Record. And to see that people are listening to us and they enjoy it is literally what keeps us going on this whole thing. And so from us to you guys, thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
yes, thank you very much. Um, yeah,
Anyway, sorry,
no,
we were talking AI and how
eh,
I think that AI could really F up Hollywood. I think it could really screw up Hollywood, because there's so much happening and people do not need to be creative anymore. But on top of the people don't need to be creative, let the computers be creative. Oh, we can also use deep fakes. We can use all these things. You could make a whole movie using AI and deep fakes and never once have to pay a single person. Like, that is wild, Adam. Wild.
yeah, you could write a script through AI if you really wanted to. I just know it's one thing I'm curious about, Dax. I think paparazzi culture, because we grew up our heyday, we grew up during the paparazzi culture. Now paparazzis are starting to kind of get fizzled out a little bit. And I think they're also the word paparazzi is a little bit of a negative tone. Would you say the word paparazzi
A
is a
hundred
little bit of a
percent. But
negative?
that's always it's always had a negative tone, and it's this thing that people love but also don't want to admit they love. It's a like a secret obsession, because people like to see the photos of the celebs walking on the beach, but they don't want to acknowledge where they came from. Like, someone had to take that photo, and the word paparazzi is such a dirty word, and it's become a dirty word obviously because of like Princess Diana situation. And there's been so many people that have said, oh, big celebs, Halle Berry and Jen Gardner, saying, don't take photos of my kids, all that. So I think it's got a dirty connotation to it, but at the same time, people like what they produce. They're obsessed with it.
Yeah, I just think at what point are we going to start to acknowledge that time where, like, you know what, that was a good time, paparazzi. And I say that because I'm on the streets now. Most people aren't. I mean, you don't really see the photos like you once did. And I see what goes on. And it's not the paparazzis that are an issue, it's the fans. The fans are insane these days. When it comes to autographs and these photo with people. I mean, in New York, dude, it's insane. It's insane
But
what goes on with these
you've
fans.
always told me that it's not necessarily the fans either. It's the autograph seekers that can be total pains in the asses.
We don't call them. I wouldn't even call them fans. That's what it is. I should clarify just to be more specific, because some people might be like, the fans aren't bad, they're fans. But no, these are professional fans. I mean, you see it if you go to these TV shows. These are people that are there every single day, and
But
they're
that's not a
so.
fan. A fan is
I
someone
know,
who truly enjoys the work of that celebrity. These are people who are making money off the autographs, off the pictures that are, there, the memorabilia that they're getting signed. They're not true fans of that celebrity. They're just professionals who stand outside of a TV show waiting for celebs to come out.
but they're so aggressive and they're so obnoxious, and they are. They'll get these autographers. Let's just say, for example, it's Livy Dunn, who I mentioned. If
Hmm.
you get an autograph for her, maybe it's worth $30. Okay. However, if I get 8 things signed by her, 8 times 30, it adds up. That's $240. So there is money to be made. So these people are just trying to get anything and everything signed to just make money, and it's insane, dude. I'm telling you, no one believes me. I'm like, the paparazzi aren't bad. It's these people that are just so aggressive. And
Well, not all paparazzi are bad. There are some that have been. I've known a lot of people throughout my years that weren't the greatest paparazzi out there, that would kind of do anything to get the photo, right? I mean, that's why I think there were so many boundaries that needed to be set, because people were taking photos into backyards, into homes, all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to give a full pass, but I do think that there's less of those people these days. And now a lot of people that we've had on our podcast, like Jessel and others, they're legitimately good at their jobs and they don't cross the boundaries. But those
Well,
are the
that's
people
some.
that we talk to.
I'm curious if we're ever going to look back and be like, man, like after everything we used to say anti paparazzi, we're going to actually thank them, because I think what's going on with the crazy fans these days is even more crazier than any type of paparazzis ever were. But I mean, but you also love looking at paparazzi content, because your job at TMZ was able to see content before it ever came out.
Of course.
Did you, when you
I
saw the
told
video
you
recently?
it was the most voyeuristic job ever, and I loved it. I got paid to like look through photos. I'm such a visual person in general that going through all the photos, like I don't know how to explain it to someone that's never seen a paparazzi website, but it's like just I guess it's like Google Photos. Like if you've got a Google Photos account and you've got different albums, and then you click into that album and you see all the photos from that album, that's kind of like what the paparazzi websites were. So you'd log in and be behind like a password protected wall. You get in there and then it's just albums, and you kind of like see the first one and it says Paris Hilton out last night or Britney Spears falling or whatever, and you click into it and then you just get to see the whole set. And it was so, I don't know, I loved everything about it. It was so cool to get to be the first person to see this content before anyone else, and getting to be the decider of what's cool and what the world should know about. Like that was my job. And I don't want to say I felt like I had power, but I felt like I was always the first one. And I love, with gossip, people like to be the first one to know gossip, right? And that was
Yeah,
me.
sure.
I knew all of the gossip, the visual gossip from the night before, and I would see that, and then I got to be the person to show that gossip to the world. I don't know, there was just something so fun and so cool about it, and I got to do it for so long that now I look back and I'm like, man, I had a fun job. I had a really
Yeah.
fun job for a long time.
So when you saw the video recently of Justin Bieber kind of yelling at the paparazzi, it's not the first time we've seen Bieber kind of have issues with the paparazzi. I'm not talking
Hmm.
about the one when it was during the day. It was the night shot recently where he like really was going at them and asking them if they thought. If you saw a video, what were your thoughts on that video?
That I feel like is sad. I don't, like I think because I look at Justin how I look at Britney Spears, where there's a sad aspect to it where they've never had privacy from such a young age. They've never been able to make a mistake and not have a million people know about your mistake. And I think what you see is frustration. You see hurt. You see anger. And to me, I just kind of feel bad for them. There's other people that like, I see like Ben Affleck. I look at him and I'm like, oh my God, dude, you've had a great life. Like, chill out. With Bieber, literally, dude, he has been famous since he was like 14 years old. Think of all the dumb shit that you did when you were 14, 15, 16, 17. Like, he has been under a microscope his entire life. And I think that's what we're seeing is him kind of lash out because he's had to keep a lot of it in. He's had to keep composed. He's had to keep his shit together, and he can't do it anymore. The world has attacked him for so long, and he's just over it. I mean, think about, okay, when we do an episode and then someone writes a shitty comment or leaves us a shitty review, and it like makes us so mad. That's his daily life times a million. Think about that. And that's been going on for his entire life. Like how do you even pretend to be a normal human being when you've grown up like this?
So in that particular situation, do you think the paparazzi were wrong there when he started talking to them and they kept filming it and they're just like
I've-
in the back of their head they're like
am not
cha-ching,
saying
cha-ching, cha-ching, and it's fine if
I'm
you're.
not
I don't
yeah.
care. I'm just curious your thoughts on it because I'll
I'm
give
not
you.
saying what they're doing is wrong because that's their job. Like their job is to document. I think I just feel bad for him that that's what's happening or that's why he's so frustrated in his life. But it's hard to say what the paparazzi are wrong because no, that's what they've always done. They're not doing anything different than they did 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I mean, that's what they've done. And I think that, it's just, that's the cycle that it is. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that.
It's a tough,
They're,
yeah. I understand Justin Siles and the paparazzi side, and I think there is a little bit of a two-way street. You got to be able to give to them, and you got to, if you give a little, you'll get. And actually, I saw it the other night. I saw Haley Bieber the other night. Haley Bieber comes to the party. Security comes down and goes, "Hey guys, listen, just back up. She's gonna walk out and she's walking the party. Like you'll get everything. I'm not blocking at all, but just do me a favor, just for my safety, just so I keep an eye. Like back up." And there's three of us there, and we all backed up. We stood on the side, kind of created a wall, and the guy knew that like we're not. He knew what our intention was, to get a photo of Haley Bieber, and the photo was.
yeah.
I think there was a little bit of news story going on at that time, because is she going to wear a ring? Is she not wearing a ring? But she was wearing a ring. And you also want to get fashion. I mean, here's one girl who's one of the biggest celebrities in the world. She's a very pretty girl. You want to see her fashion. So, but I think it was more for the other people. With that said, I think there just has to be a two-way street there. I mean, and at least I am like that. Like, I'm just like, talk to me. I'll be cool to you. Just try to get me next time. I mean, I could be doing a lot worse things, and I'm pretty nice. I've seen it done to other people. I've seen Hugh Jackman. I remember seeing Hugh Jackman trick-or-treating during Halloween. He's with his kids, his family, and the paparazzi like, "Oh, this is a great shot." They're flashing them like crazy, just keep getting as many photos as they can. But then all of a sudden, he was like, "All right, you guys all got the photo? You got the photo of me, my family, my kids? All right, we're going to go trick-or-treating." And he just walked off. And all the photographers left. But one guy said, "I didn't agree upon it. I didn't agree to that. I'm just going to keep shooting." And I was just like, dude, come on. Like, you get it. And I understand that he's like legally allowed to kind of be cool. But, I mean, this is the way you piss them off. And
Yeah.
I think Bieber understands it to a certain extent. I just think, like you said, for everything he's done in his life, I think there's been a lot of people there in his life that have been there for not the right reasons. Not saying
Yeah.
that Scooter. I just think in general, when you see a successful young guy, it's hard to find real true friends. And he had a lot of people in his life who he thought were his friends, and they turned out to have other intentions. It's been
Yeah.
tough.
By the way, did you see, speaking of Hugh Jackman, did you see the write-up in the Washington Post? We
Tell
made
people about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a write-up in the Washington Post. There is the writer's name is Emily. Let me see what Emily's last name is. Yahir, I think is how you say her last name, or Yahar. She was listening to an episode of the Hollywood Raw podcast, and it was. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Trying to think what I said before. I apologize. Give me one sec. I need to do the top of the story. Okay. Where do you think would be a good edit place for this? At what point do you think should I say?
I think just start from the beginning and just.
So like you saying, yeah, tell people about this?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Yeah, so there was a whole write-up in the Washington Post. The article is titled "Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster, of all people, are the new Benifer." This was pretty cool. So Emily Yahar, I believe is how you say her name. She's the writer on the story. She was listening to an episode of the Hollywood Raw podcast when we had Jessel on. Do you remember when Jessel came on and was talking about the first photos of Hugh and Sutton and them being out, and it really kind of feeling like a whole setup of, them wanting to release this news to the world because they were kind of tired of hiding it. So she listened to that episode, liked it so much, and she wrote up a whole article about them. But she quoted Hollywood Raw, she quoted Jessel, she ended up reaching out to Jessel. So I love when our episodes and people that we've had on spark more of a conversation. And so highly recommend. I'll put a link into our private Facebook group for it, just so that you guys can read it. I love when I see our names in articles out there about things that we've talked about on the podcast. It's fun. And it just never feels like it gets old when you see people cover our podcast.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. Yeah, we've done pretty well in that. I want to ask you, are you where the P Diddy story, the P Diddy case? is
Yes, you need
almost
an
done.
update.
Yeah, not even an update. Are you still invested in it? Are you still that excited for it or interested in it? And it's hard to. I don't want people to cancel me because I said
Yeah.
excited for it because it has been like, whoa, it's been
No,
tea.
I'm
I mean, is it
pretty
been
I'm
as
pretty
much tea as you
exhausted.
wanted? Yeah, I feel like
I'm
everyone's sort of drained and
exhausted, and I feel that again it goes back to it's not televised, so I'm tired of reading about it. I think if this was something that I didn't have to read and I got to watch, it would be a very different situation, but I'm tired of reading about all of the updates versus just having it spoon fed to me. So the prosecution is supposed to rest this week. On the 23rd, the court adjourned after cross-examining a Homeland Security agent, Joseph Cercello. And the case will then move on to the defense's turn. The defense plans to call a few witnesses, but Combs himself most likely will not ever reach the stand. He doesn't want to incriminate himself. The final prosecution witness is this guy named Brendan Paul. He's a former assistant. He took the stand earlier this week under immunity. He basically testified that it procured ketamine, cocaine, and organized freakoffs. Those obviously the drugs, sex-fueled parties. They were hosted by Combs through 2023. He admitted arrest while carrying cocaine from Combs' hotel, but avoided charges via a diversion program. Additional evidence that was included equals, these charts mapping payments to escorts and drugs, implicating Combs as the chief of staff. And then the defense highlighted consent via text messages from his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. So, we talked a little bit about what happened last week with a juror suffering vertigo, and then another juror possible dismissal over improper communications. But the judge didn't take immediate action on that. So it looks like they should be wrapping up. They wanted, I believe, get all of this done before the 4th of July weekend. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think that would be ideal for a lot of people, but I don't know if they're going to be able to make a decision that quickly in this case. So it just doesn't feel like it's moving fast at this point. Like I'm like, oh God, let it be over with. Let's just hear, is he guilty or not? Like what's the next steps?
yeah, I'm getting bored by it. I just want to
Yeah.
settle, not a settlement. I just want to come to a conclusion with it. I want to move on. I think the worst of it, so I think it's already been out there. It was like the first or second week, like the Cassie stuff. We wanted to hear what Cassie had to
Yeah.
say. I think a lot of people's opinions changed on him. I'm not saying they're saying P Diddy's a good guy by any means. No, but they're also, I think a lot of people think, hey, people willingly participated
I
in a
think
freak off.
listen, I think that there is a little bit of both. I think that there's freak offs and there's people that wanted to be there, and I think there's people that probably didn't want to be there after their 47th freak off that they were forced to go to. But there's going to be a level of a little bit of both, just like there's a little bit of truth in every story that's told. You know what I'm saying? So I think that I can understand how easily it could go either way for Cassie, where she maybe at the beginning was like, oh, this is fun, it's different, I like this guy, and then 2 months in being like, what the hell are we doing? Why does he keep dragging me? Why does he not want to have sex with me? Why does he want me to keep having sex with other people and watch it? That's the weirdest part to me, is don't you want to like hook up with your own girlfriend? Why did you keep having her hook up with other people and you just watch it? It's so weird.
It's
But I guess
definitely
that
weird.
fetishes are weird.
Fetishes are weird. I don't know if anything that is really. It's all weird stuff. I'm not saying it's all. There's definitely some legality, but I don't think it's as the worst of it. I should say that. I would say we weren't. We already had before this case pretty much the worst things already planted in our head. They baby oil what they found, but us the public never saw the freak off videos, which, like we said, we would love to see it. I don't think it was as crazy as we thought. I mean, yes, it was crazy, but I thought in the back of our minds we were all hoping for more.
Yeah. I think
That's
I
it.
just wanted to watch the videos. I just wanted to see what went down in that. Like, were they wearing masks? Is it like Eyes Wide Shut? Is like that Tom Cruise movie where they're
Yeah.
wearing capes and stuff, or is it just literally orgies. I don't
No,
know. Again,
orgies.
the stories that go down in Hollywood that you never know about, like those big, just we've talked about this before. What Paris Hilton knows, what are the things that she's been to, and the things that she's seen. I'd love to be able to just download her Google Photos out of her head just so I could see what she's seen.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of like people like Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian know about Hollywood and just keep their mouths shut. It's just very interesting. I wish I was
Kim's
like
got
in
to
that
know.
circle.
Kim's got to
Kim
know
knows
so
stuff.
much.
Kim knows so much, and she just doesn't say anything. That's gotta be cool. By the way, Dax, I am watching. I know a lot of people finished it. I'm pretty much like 3/4 done. I'm watching the John Hamm show, Friends and Neighbors.
Yeah.
It's actually a good show. It's not like a great. It's like effortless, and I think I was looking for more in a show, but it's actually sort of fun, and John Hamm's good in it, and it's a good show.
Can you believe I still haven't finished White Lotus? Like, I started this show so long ago, and we got through the first couple seasons. I think we're maybe 2 episodes away from wrapping up everything. We have no time. I have literally no time in my life. This is my TV time right now. That seeing you on a screen is the only TV kind of show I get to watch these days.
That sounds terrible. Well, I feel bad for
I
you.
know.
Prayers for Dax. Hope he gets through it. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on the Hollywood Raw podcast. Follow our private Facebook group, Off the Record. We all like to sit around and BS with each other in that group. Follow me at Adam Glynn. Follow Dax at Dax Holt. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily. Hurry up. Come on, let's go.